Let's start by giving all praises to the Most High, whose true name in the ancient Hebrew is Yahweh, in the name of his only begotten Son, whose true name in the ancient Hebrew is Yahweh Shai, and the Holy Spirit in the ancient Hebrew is the Rakakwadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles who taught us this truth by the Holy Spirit. Honors to the brothers risking their life and freedom to push the gospel. Peace and blessings to the elect, which will be the so-called Negroes, Latinos, Native Americans, and Seminole Indians who make up the lost 12 tribes of Israel, according to scripture and according to prophecy. But the elect will be 1/3 of the Israelites who are returning back to the Most High during the last days, which is right now, to receive salvation. While the 2/3 of Israel who don't turn back to the Most High be destroyed in judgment. We back with another lesson through the mercy of Yahweh Bahashim Yahweh Shai. This is going to be Remember the Help from Heaven, number 39. And it's going to be titled Bringing the Flood Upon the Ungodly. Bringing the Flood Upon the Ungodly. So we're going to be talking about the great flood during the time of Noah and how it applies today. So we're going to start here, Romans 15:4. For whatsoever things were written aforetime were written for our learning, that we, through patience and comfort of the scriptures, might have hope. So everything that happened in the past that's recorded in this book, it was written for our learning in the future, which would mean the last days, which will be right now. And that through the understanding of the things that are written, it will give us comfort and hope. Why so? Because many of the stories in the Bible, like for example, the great flood in the time of Noah, people read that as if it's an ancient story, like it's limited to back then. And yeah, it is an ancient story. But when you read about the flood in the time of Noah, you really reading about the future destruction of America. And pretty much the destruction that's coming upon the whole earth. So yeah, when you read about the flood, you're actually reading about the future. It's teaching you what the Lord is going to do to a future generation that becomes that wicked. Because a lot of people complain these days how corrupt people are, how much wickedness is in the earth, the abominations that are done in the earth. Everybody is looking for a way out. Everybody looking for a solution. Well, what's the answer? It's going to be that destruction. What was the answer to the wickedness during the time of Noah? It was the flood. But the Lord said he's not going to use water this time. It's going to be fire, and that's going to be by nuclear war. So the answer to all the people's problems today is the destruction. Just like the answer to all of the problems in the earth back then was the flood. So we're going to start here. This is the book of Genesis, chapter 6, verse 5. And God saw that the wickedness of man was great in the earth, just like it is today, and that every imagination of the thoughts of his heart was only continually evil. So even the thoughts of the people, they were only continually evil, just as it is today. And it repented the Lord that he had made man on the earth, and it grieved him at his heart. So the Lord was sick of the people, just as he's sick of the people today. And the Lord said, I will destroy man whom I have created from off the face of the earth, both man and beast and creepy thing and the fowls of the air. For it repented me that I have made them. So the Lord was so sick of the people, he regretted that he made them. So what? He brought upon the earth, the whole earth, a great flood. Well, the Lord feels the very same way today, if not worse. He's at the point that he regrets that he ever created people. So what is he gonna do again? He's gonna destroy man from off the face of the earth. The Lord, um, the formula doesn't changes. Hey, when the earth is completely corrupted and full of evils, the Lord's gonna destroy it. The formula doesn't change. So the answer to all of the wickedness, to cleanse the earth from all of the wickedness, it was by water. It was the flood, which in this lifetime is going to be by the lake of fire. It says, but Noah found grace in the eyes of the Lord. So yeah, Noah found grace in the eyes of the Lord. Why? Because he was righteous, found righteous during that time. He was one of the few righteous men in the earth during that time. And what you got to understand about the righteous and the wicked, the righteous and the wicked, they're an abomination to each other. The wicked is an abomination to the righteous is an abomination to the wicked. Then we know Isaiah 59, I think, 15 say, he who depart from evil maketh himself a prey. So best believe that the earth was that wicked and that evil, and Noah was righteous. Noah was a target and a prey. So Noah was dealing with a lot of hate, a lot of oppression, started being harassed. He was probably being threatened. Noah had to deal with a lot. Scripture's not going to say that. You just got to read in between the lines. And that comes, through the understanding of the scriptures. That Noah was going through a lot before the flood. So when the Lord finally did bring the flood, it wasn't like Noah was sad. Noah had been looking for a way out. Noah had been praying um, for judgment to come upon the earth, just as we do today. We fed up with the earth today. We fed up with the wickedness, all of the abominations, the corruption. So what? We praying for destruction too. That's why the Lord brung it. The Lord didn't bring the destruction and ain't nobody asking for it. Ain't we asking for it today? So best believe Noah was praying for destruction back then. Now we going to get some more scriptures to kind of dive into the mindset of Noah before the flood and how he was upset with the earth. And to do that, we're going to come to the book of Second Peter, and we're going to look at Lot. We're going to look at the mindset of Lot before the destruction of Sodom and Gomorrah. So let's start here, 2 Peter 2 and 6, and turning the cities of Sodom and Gomorrah into ashes, condemned them with an overthrow, making them an example unto those that after shall live ungodly. So what the Lord did to Sodom and Gomorrah, it stands today. It's forever. It's forever a memorial, a reminder to future generations who will live after the same manner of Sodom and Gomorrah. And America is doing so today. So what did the Lord do? He rained fire on it. So what you think the Lord gonna do to America? He's gonna rain fire on it. Hey, the great flood during the time of Noah. That was a reminder of what the Lord would do to the earth to future generations. That the earth will be completely covered in wickedness. That he would destroy man off the face of the earth. And what's that reminder? The rainbow. And what Esau the white man do? He made mockery of the rainbow. Made it the symbol for LGBTQT. So they made mockery of the Lord's promise that he would never flood the earth again. So yeah, the flood was a reminder what the world would do to the entire earth, to all the people in the earth, if the earth were to be fully covered in wickedness again. And that's where we at with it today. Once again, the earth is exceedingly polluted with wickedness, full of abominations. Goes on to say, and delivered just Lot, vexed with the filthy conversation of the wicked. So Lot was upset, fed up, annoyed with all of the wickedness that was taking place. It says, for that righteous man. That's why he was upset with the wickedness, because he was righteous during the time that wickedness was great in the earth. And now it's the same case during the time of Noah. Noah was upset, he was vexed, he was annoyed, he was pissed off with the wickedness that was taking place. For that righteous man dwelling among them, and seeing and hearing vex his righteous soul from day to day with their unlawful deeds. So Lot was vexed day to day from the things that he heard and the things that he saw during the time of Sodom and Gomorrah. And what some of the things that Lot had to put up with? Well, there was a LGBTQ parade. It was a bunch of gay tranny men that was beating on his door, threatening to take advantage of him, threatening to take advantage of the men that was in his house, which were the angels, threatening to kill him. That's what Lot had to deal with on a daily basis. He dealt with a lot of hate, a lot of harassment, a lot of threats. And that was the same for Noah. Noah, he was vexed with the wickedness that was taking place. Noah, he was fed up. He was pissed off at the things that he heard and the things that he saw from day to day, their unlawful deeds. So it ain't like Noah was just living in peace, living in complete happiness, and then the Lord warned him about the flood. No, Noah was pissed off today and fed up with the world. Just like we are today. We pissed off at the world with America, and we fed up with the world. We fed up with this whole reality that Esau the white man has created. So when we got the report that the Lord was going to destroy America, we rejoiced at it. What you think Noah did when the Lord brought him the report about he was gonna flood the entire earth to destroy the wickedness? Noah rejoiced at it. Noah wasn't sad, upset, like, oh man, the Lord's gonna flood the earth. No. Noah needed the flood. Just like we need the destruction of America. Hey, this is the source of all of our problems, all of our frustration. That's the same during the time of Noah. The source of all of his problems, all of his frustration was the earth being completely covered in wickedness, just as it is today. And it was the same with Lot. Lot was the source of Lot's problems was the people in Sodom and Gomorrah. They're completely wicked. So, um, considering that Lot was righteous, the Lord brought a solution to Lot's problems. He rained fire on Sodom and Gomorrah. The Lord brought a solution to all of Noah's problems. How? By bringing a flood upon the whole world. And that's why when we go up and get verse 5, it says, and spared not the old world. The Lord didn't spare nobody, but saved Noah, the eighth person, a preacher of righteousness, bringing in the flood upon the world of the ungodly. And that's the title of the lesson, bringing the flood upon the ungodly. So, in a sense, Noah needed rescuing. Noah needed to be saved from the wickedness that was in the earth and from the wicked people that was spreading that wickedness. And how did the Lord rescue him? By bringing the flood upon the ungodly. A Lot, he needed to be rescued from Sodom and Gomorrah. So what the Lord do? Send two angels to help him escape. And then the very next morning, he was raining fire on Sodom and Gomorrah. Lord willing, we that righteous today, that what that we be delivered from the destruction that the Lord is bringing. Which this time it's not going to be a flood by water, but it's going to be a flood by fire. That's why the scriptures refers to it as the lake of fire. So we made some parallels between this time period we living in now. We linked it to the time of Noah, how the earth was completely wicked, how Noah was upset with it, upset with the world, just like we upset with the world today. That the Lord is upset with the world today, just as he was back then. And the Lord came up with the perfect solution to destroy man off the face of the earth. So that's the time that we in. Except this time, it's not going to be by water, it's going to be by fire. But let's show the state of the world today. We're going to get the book of 2nd Ezra, chapter 15, verse 6. For wickedness have exceedingly polluted the whole earth, and their hurtful works are fulfilled. See that? Wickedness have exceedingly polluted the whole earth. That's just as it was during the time of Noah before the flood. As we jump back to Genesis 6 and 5. And God saw that the wickedness of man was great in the earth. So the whole earth was exceedingly polluted with wickedness back then. And that every imagination of the thoughts of his heart was only continually evil. This how the earth is today. Then back to 2nd Ezra 15 and 7. Therefore saith the Lord, I will hold my tongue no more as touching their wickedness. So the Lord saying, he's not going to stand by and let wickedness continue in the earth. That's why back to Genesis 5 and 6, it says, and it repented the Lord that he had made man on the earth, and it grieved him at his heart. Verse 7, the Lord said, I will destroy man whom I have created from off the face of the earth. So that's the Lord pretty much saying, I'm not gonna hold my tongue anymore. I'm gonna step up and bring judgment. Or that's where we at today with it. The Lord is about to step up and bring judgment and destroy man off the face of the earth. I will hold my tongue no more as touching their wickedness which they profanely commit. Neither will I suffer them in those things in which they wickedly exercise themselves. Behold, the innocent and righteous blood crieth unto me, and the souls of the just complain continually. So again, the reason why the Lord, one of the many reasons that the Lord brought the flood during the time of Noah, because best believe Noah was complaining. Best believe innocent blood was being shed in the earth. So Noah was complaining. He was praying for a judgment to take place. Lot was praying for a judgment to take place too, when you read in between the lines. Because remember, it said what about Lot? That he was vexed with the filthy conversation of the wicked, that he was vexed from day to day with their unlawful deeds, just as we upset, stressed out, pissed off with the world and its people today. We praying for a judgment. We praying for the destruction. So yeah, the innocent and righteous blood crieth unto me, we crying out today. Noah was crying out back then. Lot was crying out. And the souls of the just complain continually. Goes on to verse 9, and therefore saith the Lord, I will surely avenge them. So those of us who's complaining today, the Lord is going to avenge us. He's going to avenge us upon the people of the earth for all of their wickedness and all of their abominations. What you think that was during the time of Noah and the flood? That was the Lord avenging Noah. So I guess we're going to get it real quick. But when we go to the book of Isaiah, I think it's 59 and 15. It said, "True felleth, and he that departeth from evil maketh himself a prey. The Lord saw it, and it displeased him that there was no judgment." And that was the same case during the time of Noah. Because again, he who depart from evil maketh himself a prey. So the whole world was coming up against Noah. Just like Sodom and Gomorrah was coming up against Lot. Just like this world is coming up against us today. And that's why Revelation 12 and 17, it says the dragon go make war with the remnant that keep the commandments, got the testimony of Yahweh Shai. The Lord said we could be hated of all nations for his name's sake. So the whole world is literally about to come up against us on a whole nother level. And we're going to pray for what? A destruction, for judgment. And the Lord is going to bring it just like he did in the time of Noah. Because best believe the whole earth was rising up against Noah. Because he was like one of 8 righteous people in the earth. So best believe Noah was dealing with a lot of hate, a lot of jealousy, and just as we do today. And what the Lord avenged them. If the Lord avenged him, won't he avenge us? Seeing that the whole earth is polluted in wickedness, and that people are actually crying out against the abominations. Therefore, saith the Lord, I will surely avenge them. The flood, that was the Lord's vengeance. The nuclear fire that's coming to America and coming to the earth, that's the Lord's vengeance. And receive unto me all the innocent blood from among them. So who was that innocent blood back then? It would have been Noah and them. We that innocent today, Lord willing. Behold, my people is led as a flock to the slaughter. I will not suffer them now to dwell in the land of Egypt, which is spiritual Egypt, which is America. The Lord said, my people led as a flock to the slaughter. And this is how bad it is when you read Matthew 24, 21, and 22. For there shall be great tribulation, such as was not since the beginning of the world to this time, no, nor ever shall be. So it's going to get a lot worse. Before the Lord avenges us, before he brings the fire. The old world, it got a lot worse during the days leading up to the flood. And except those days should be shortened, there should no flesh be saved. But for the elect's sake, those days should be shortened. So if the Lord didn't speed up the time to the destruction, Israel will be completely wiped off the face of the earth. During the time of Noah, if the Lord didn't bring that flood, Noah and his family, they would have been wiped off the face of the earth. So Noah knew that he was living behind enemy lines, because he was living amongst the wicked. We know we living behind enemy lines today, living amongst the wicked. But that's why again the Lord said, my people is led as a flock to the slaughter, and he will not suffer us to dwell in this place any longer. He's not going to allow us to live, fear, and suffer any longer. And that's during the time of Noah. The Lord didn't allow Noah to suffer and deal with the people in their wickedness any longer. And then what? He made it rain. And that's why when we get this, Second Maccabees 15:7. But Maccabees had ever sure confidence that the Lord will help him. Noah had confidence that the Lord will help him. We should have that same faith today that the Lord is going to help us. Wherefore he exhorted his people not to fear the coming of the heathen against them. The world is coming against us today. But we know before it's said and done, the enemy's going to come in like a flood. And best believe the old world, they came up against Noah. But it says don't fear when the people come up against us, but to remember the help which in former times they had received from heaven, and now expect the victory and aid which shall come unto them from the Almighty. So don't fear when the enemy come in like a flood. Don't fear the hour of temptation. Don't fear Esau the white man and his sword, which will be his military. Don't fear when Esau the white man make it impossible for us to live in the earth. But remember the help from heaven. Remember what the Lord did to the earth during the time of Noah. He flooded the whole earth. And that saved Noah from that wicked, corrupt generation of people. Well, the Lord is going to save us again from this wicked, corrupt generation. But it's not going to be by water, it's going to be by fire, because this whole place got to go. Even if you did take the white man off the face of the earth, GMO foods, plants, and animals everywhere, air, water, soil polluted, the body's polluted, microplastics, heavy metals, nanoparticles, all in the body. So yeah, the Lord's going to bring the fire to rescue us from this place. Because it was the water that saved Noah and them from that wicked generation. Now let's show that. 1 Peter 3:20, which sometimes were disobedient when once the long suffering of God waited in the days of Noah, while the ark was preparing, wherein few, that is, 8 souls, were saved by water. That's the vengeance. The Lord avenged them. He saved them by the water, by bringing the flood. Well, in this generation, we're going to be saved by the fire. The Lord is going to avenge us with fire. Because remember, he who depart from evil make himself a prey. So Noah was dealing with a lot of hate, a lot of oppression, just as we deal with today. Noah had to deal with a lot of evils. But it says 8 souls were saved by the water. And again, we're going to be saved by the fire. And that's why when you come to the book of Wisdom of Solomon 16:16, for the ungodly that deny to know thee were scourged by the strength of thine arm with strange rains, hails, and showers were they persecuted that they could not avoid. So strange rains. That's what the Lord is bringing today, to today's world. Well, the Lord brought strange rains back then because before the time of Noah in the flood, it never rained. So when it did rain water, that was strange to them. But let's read this again. For the ungodly that denied to know thee were scourged by the strength of thine arm with strange rains, hails, and showers were they persecuted that they could not avoid. And through fire were they consumed. So the Lord's going to fulfill the prophecy of strange rain again. Because back then, rain by water was strange. They had never seen it before. Well, we very familiar with rain that brings water. So what's the prophecy of strange rains this time? It's going to be a rain that brings fire. And what the Lord going to do, he's going to rain nuclear missiles on America and other parts of the earth. And it said what? Um, that they could not avoid. So the strange rains, the nuclear fire, the people not going to be able to escape it. Just like they couldn't avoid that water during the time of the flood. Nobody made it. And that's why when you come back to the book of Second Ezra, um, 15:11, but it says, "But I will bring them with a mighty hand and a stretched out arm." That's the Lord saving us. And the Lord brought Noah out of the old world by that water, by that ark. Well, the Lord's going to bring us out of this world by fire and by that ark. And that ark will be the chariot of the Lord, which will be a UFO. And it says, "And smite Egypt with plagues as before." This is spiritual Egypt, which is America. So the pyramid is on the back of the dollar. And it says, "And will destroy all the land thereof." So America is going to be completely destroyed, as well as other parts of the earth. It says, "Egypt shall mourn, and the foundation of it shall be smitten." So Egypt, which is America, going to be destroyed to the very foundation. That's what the Lord said. The foundation shall be smitten. So the Lord is going to change the landscape of the earth. Parts of it going to get destroyed to the foundation, till there's nothing left. It shall be smitten with the plague and punishment that God shall bring upon it. And that plague and punishment this time is going to be fire. And what was the last time? It was water. So last time the foundation was smitten, but by water. That's why Wisdom of Solomon 16:16, it said they were persecuted with strange rains that they could not avoid. That water went everywhere. That's going to be the case with this nuclear destruction. There's going to be no escape for the parts of the earth that get hit with that nuclear fire. And this is going to be the book of 2 Peter 3 verse 10. "But the day of the Lord will come as a thief in the night, in the which the heavens shall pass away with a great noise." What's the heavens? This current rulership, this current reality that's built up by Esau the white man, is going to pass away with a great noise. What's that great noise? That nuclear fire. Them bombs going off. But guess what? The old world, it passed away with a great noise too. What was that great noise? It started thundering. Because before the time of Noah, it never rained and it never thundered. So when it started thundering during the time of Noah, that was the old world passing away with a great noise. But it's going to be a strange thunder today. It's going to be them nuclear bombs going off. A strange thunder that's going to bring a strange rain. The strange thunder being the bombs going off, the missiles being launched worldwide, and the strange rains when the nuclear warheads come down and bring that consuming fire. And the elements shall melt with fervent heat. The earth also, the works that are therein, shall be burnt up. So last time, during the time of Noah, everything was washed away by water. It was wiped clean. Well, this time, the Lord gonna dissolve everything. This time is gonna be more destructive. The Lord gonna dissolve everything. That's why I said the elements shall melt. It said the earth also, the works that are therein, shall be burnt up. The earth is wicked. It's ran out of complete wickedness. That's why the works therein gotta be burnt up. GMO food, plants and animals, chemtrails, all the pollution. Those are the works of men. They gotta be burnt up. Even the wickedness in the mindsets of the people. That's the working of Esau the white man. Even the people gotta be burnt up. Everything gotta go. because that water for the flood during the time of Noah, that was the answer for all of the earth's problems. The answer for all of the earth's problems today is going to be that nuclear fire. Kind of like a one size fits all kind of thing. And this is Zechariah 13 in verse 8. It shall come to pass that in all the land, saith the Lord, 2 parts therein shall be cut off and die, but the third shall be left therein. So everybody outside of Noah and his family, they died, but Noah and his family, they was left therein. They remained in the earth. Well, 1/3 of Israel, they're going to remain in the earth before the fire. And I would bring that third part through the fire. The Lord said we're going to be brought through the fire. And just like Noah, he was brought through the water. He was brought through the floods. And will refine them as silver is refined, and will try them as gold is tried. They shall call on my name, and I will hear them. I will say, it is my people, and they shall say, Yahweh Bashim Yahushua is my God. So this as Noah was brought through the water, we're going to be brought through the fire. Because the water during the time of Noah, it was the Lord avenging Noah on the old world. The fire, that's going to be the Lord avenging his elect on America and the rest of the world. Because just like the time of Noah, this is going to be a worldwide destruction. This is the book of Zechariah 14:12. What's going to happen to the people who not brought through the fire? Where they're going to be left here to burn. This shall be the plague wherewith the Lord will smite all the people that have fought against Jerusalem. The Lord said, you should be hated of all nations for my name's sake. We know the crafty counsel in Psalms 83. But we know Revelation 12:17 that they're going to make war with those who keep the commandments and got the testimony of Yahushua. So the whole world is about to rise up against the Lord's elect. But best believe the whole world was rising up against Noah. They was fighting against Noah, just as this world gonna fight against us today. It's gonna fight against the Lord's elect. It says their flesh shall consume away while they stand upon their feet. Their eyes shall consume away in their holes, and their tongue shall consume away in their mouth. So the Lord gonna burn them from the inside out. That's gonna be in that lake of fire. That's gonna be the strange rains. So when you fight against the Lord's elect, when you fight against the Lord's righteous, you're gonna burn. Even in the flood during the time of Noah, the Lord burnt them. Because when you're drowning, for those who ever breathed in a bunch of water, it creates a burning sensation inside your sinuses. When you breathe in a lot of water and you drowning, it creates a burning sensation. So while the people was drowning in that water, they was burning from the inside. Not burning by fire, but again, when you breathe in a bunch of water at once, that creates a burning sensation. So the Lord burnt people from the inside back then during the time of Noah, but he's going to burn them from the inside, but much worse here at the end. This is the book of Ecclesiastes 1:10. Is there anything of where it may be said, see, this is new? It had been already of old time, which was before us. So yeah, the Lord been destroying man from off the face of the earth. That's nothing new. When it happened, the people not going to believe it. But again, it's nothing new. Because the Lord did it with the flood during the time of Noah. But he promised he wouldn't use water, but he did promise to use fire. And people saw Noah on that ark. That was a miracle. That was help from heaven that they wasn't a part of. Where the Lord is preparing another ark to deliver us from the lake of fire, to bring us through the fire. And what's that ark? It's not a big ship this time, but it's the chariot of the Lord, what the world calls a UFO. So when they see that UFO, it's going to be strange to them. They're going to say, is this new? Hey, but it say, no, it was already of old time, which was before us. So the Lord been preparing vessels and arks to preserve us through the destruction. So yeah, back to the book of First Peter 3:20, where it says, that is, souls were saved by water, we're gonna be saved by the fire. The fire is gonna bring a complete end to this wicked generation. It's gonna bring a complete end to all of the wickedness that's in the earth. So we need the fire to happen. Just like Noah, he needed that water, he needed the flood to come to do away with all of the wickedness. Because what our people gotta understand, what we gonna face, but it's not really going on yet. The enemy gonna come in like a flood. They're gonna be like madmen spearing none. They'll be throwing you in prison, Guantanamo Bay, Alcatraz, El Salvador, these different FEMA death camps, the hour of temptation. They're gonna be microchipping people. So when it says 8 souls were saved by the water, the elect, they're gonna be saved by the fire. And that's why Luke 12:49, the Lord said, I don't come to send fire on the earth. That fire is going to be destruction to the majority of the people, but that's how we're going to be rescued. The Lord's going to send fire to rescue us from the people. Then the Lord's going to come with the chariots, what the world calls UFOs, to rescue us from the fire. Because just like the flood during the time of Noah, which when you read Wisdom of Solomon 16:16, when it says they were persecuted with strange rains that they could not avoid, there was no way to avoid that water, except for they who were on the ark. There's going to be no way to avoid these strange rains again, but that's going to bring fire. It's going to be no way to avoid it. So the Lord going to bring them chariots, the world calls UFOs. So the Lord going to deliver us from the people, saving us by the fire, and then he's going to deliver us from the fire. So, Lord willing, that was informative, edifying. Till next time, Shalom.